Thanks for listening to Middle-Aged and Mediocre. I'm Cash.
I'm Joel.
And we are a podcast about all things strange and unusual, death and UFOs, and other creepy,
Cults,
weird, random
ghosts.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I'm just naming things in the room.
Oh my god.
There's a cult of ghosts.
And alright, we are back with part 2 of the story of the Ripper Crew. Once again, real quick, we want to warn you up front that this story contains accounts of rape, torture, mutilation, and absolutely horrific sexual assault.
I haven't slept since last week. That was rough.
If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go ahead and stop listening now and go check that out.
Yeah.
And we'll see you when you get back. If you have and you're ready to go, then here is part 2 of the story of the satanic cult known as the Ripper Crew that terrorized the streets of Chicago in the 1980s. I'm Cash. That is Joel.
Juggalo Joe.
Juggalo Joe. We're middle-aged and mediocre and vaccinated.
Yeah.
So,
You got your second shot today?
yeah. So we are both card-carrying members
Yep.
of the vaccination club.
Uh-huh. Ladies.
Ladies. So
Does
yeah,
your,
I think.
Does your arm hurt? Can you, It doesn't hurt to you. What one did you get?
I don't know. Moderna?
All right. We both
Is
got
that one-
Moderna.
Is that one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Dolly one.
Okay. And that's
Yeah.
the one that made you feel like you were dying.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that here in a
Yep.
few hours.
Keep an eye on your tits.
Okay.
Yeah, I made it about 7-8 hours, and I felt like death.
Okay, well, I got mine at 3:45, so I'm on the
Okay.
clock. So, yeah, the
Cool.
doctor kind of said that I might end up feeling like I'm half dead,
Yeah.
but I should be fine.
Yeah.
So,
If it hits you, it'll last for about 12 hours. You'll be all right.
did they kind of, like, dart it into you when they gave you the injection?
I can't watch. I don't know.
Oh.
Look away.
Oh, okay. Well, he kind of, like,
I was holding my mommy's hand,
gotcha. And she, okay.
and she had my head was
Head on her shoulder.
Yep, nestled into her bosom.
I hear
And
you.
she was stroking my head, letting me just know that everything's gonna be all right. And then they stuck me.
And you made it through.
Yep.
You didn't even feel it, did you?
I got a lollipop right after.
Oh. It was like one of those big, oversized cartoons.
Yep.
Yeah, this doctor kind of like, he didn't like just stand back and throw it.
Yeah.
Which would have been hilarious. I'd have been totally cool with it if he did.
Oh yeah.
But like he did, he held it like a dart,
Uh-huh.
and then like kind of like had it like pulled his hand back a little bit, and then like stuck me. And I was like, that seemed dramatic.
And then he like plunge or something
then-
into you. Okay.
Yeah. But
Did he make that noise?
yeah,
Okay.
I think he farted.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I did.
Hell yeah. Leave,
no,
leave your scent. And where did you go for this?
Walgreens.
Walgreens. Okay.
Yeah. So far so good. I don't have any of the soreness.
Mhm.
My shoulder's still
Yeah, you're
working.
moving it pretty good. Probably still be able to pitch next week.
Yes.
Won't miss a
Even
day of
though
the
I'm-
rotation.
I'm right-handed. It's gonna be weird. I start trying to throw it to my left. I'm like, no, I'm vaccinated.
Yeah,
Let me
it's gonna
do
be like
this.
a rookie of the year situation where
Yes.
now your left arm's just gonna be able to throw really fast baseballs.
I felt like a little, not really buzzed or anything, but like I had like I could tell there was something new in my body.
Uh-huh.
I guess it's the best way to put
See,
it.
that's kind of how it started for me. Like I was at work and I just felt a little lightheaded, maybe.
Yeah.
And I got home and I was fine, but then I took a bath and got out of the bath and phew,
And then it was all over.
Yep.
For a few hours.
3 hours. Yeah, just
All right.
laid on the couch, going freezing to death while also burning up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So that should be hitting about midnight.
Yep.
All right. Got
Here
that
we
to
go.
look forward to.
Maybe a little early.
Yeah.
Hopefully after this.
I mean, I guess it's good.
I don't think I can carry a whole episode.
Well,
I know I can't. Oh, shit. I would just rob all your stuff.
What a dick.
Yep.
I would know it was you.
I know you're going to live. I would leave a note that says it wasn't me.
Oh, well, okay.
Like, hey, Josh, you passed out. I definitely didn't take anything.
Well,
Love forever, Joel.
That would completely cover everything then. I would never need to question you about it. All right. Yeah, so we're both vaccinated now, so
Yep.
now we are both...
We're the V team.
yes, the VT. I guess this, we don't have to wear masks anymore, is what I'm assuming.
Around each other, we don't. I
Yeah.
don't think.
So what is it? Like, we can still make people,
Yeah, we can still spread it. Oh,
but we can't get it.
we can spread it real
We can
good.
get it, we just don't feel anything
Yeah,
from it.
yeah.
And then we can give it to other people.
Yeah, we can spread it, though.
So, like, we can kind of use that for evil.
Sure.
If we want to become hit
I use everything for evil.
Yeah. If we want to become villains, yeah, we can start using that as like our thing.
Yeah.
All right. There's
Cool.
ways for us to make
You hear that, world?
advancements from this.
Watch out.
Hear that, world?
World.
Two guys that barely leave their own living dwellings. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of effort.
Speaking of which, we'll probably be off next weekend.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Good call.
Speaking of dwellings.
Yeah, this.
'Cause I'm leaving my dwelling
A new, bigger dwelling.
to a new, bigger dwelling.
So, and he said something about, like, fuck the podcast audience.
Yeah.
Like, they don't matter to me. My house is what matters to me,
Yeah.
is what he said.
Well, I'm going to be a little busy.
Yeah, he said, like, he's, just doesn't have time for you people. So, take that for what you will, guys.
Maybe Josh will just put an episode of his other podcast up in his place.
Maybe I will.
Maybe he'll just start a third podcast.
There's an idea. I'll just do a third podcast. That'll be next week's episode.
All right. I'm not even upset about you having another podcast.
I can tell.
It doesn't even bother me.
I can tell that you're not upset about
I'm
me
not.
having another podcast called AEW TF,
Don't talk about it right in front of me, okay?
where I, myself and three others
Not me.
talk
Three
about
other people.
AEW
It takes 3 people to do what I do.
Dynamite. You can find that on anchor.fm.
I like wrestling.
/
This used to be a wrestling podcast.
AEW TF dash cast.
Damn.
And we saw how well that worked out.
It hurts so bad.
Yeah.
I just thought, but this is your favorite podcast,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
and I don't really have to do much for the other one.
This is
I mean,
your
I have
main
to
one.
watch AEW, which is
Yeah.
it goes back and forth.
And on this, you don't really have to watch a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I just
We used to do the movie reviews.
I just read about murders
Yeah.
and things. So
You'd be doing that anyway.
yeah, so I would not be watching AEW
No.
if it was for the.
That sounds like a lot more work.
Yeah,
And it's just your side piece.
mm-hmm.
Like, you come home to this every night.
Every night.
In your mind. You're middle-aged and mediocre all the time.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
That is a fact.
You're living the brand.
I'm about to be even closer to middle-agedness here in a couple weeks.
You got a birthday?
April 3rd.
Oh, I didn't know you had a
30
birthday.
Yeah, I was birthed.
You were birthed.
I was birthed.
How old will you be?
38.
38.
Yeah. So,
Closing in on me.
yep. I think if you just stop for a couple of years, I'll catch you.
I mean, I would have to die.
Like I said, I think if you stop for a couple
All
of
right.
years.
I'm going to stop.
All right, don't do that, because then I will have to just do this by myself. And, rather not.
Yeah.
Probably will stop doing it.
Yeah.
I'll just have my other podcast.
It's
fall back
just
on, though.
your head. It's just your voice in your head. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You need me to
I don't
bounce
even know
off
if
of.
I don't even know if you're real.
Oh.
Can't
Well, this
prove
is
it.
Fight Club. If I was what you made up in your mind, that would be really fucking sad.
I mean,
Well, now that I'm questioning my existence,
yeah. So now that we don't know if either of us are actually real or not,
we're vaccinated.
we are This is what happens when you get the vaccination.
Yep.
By the way, people, you start to question everything.
Everything.
Don't do it.
Oh, don't do it.
We just become an anti-vaxxer
Oh,
podcast.
not we. I'd go get your vaccination.
I guess
Yeah.
if you want to.
Nothing needs to be real. Life's easier when nothing feels real.
Yeah, you might as well get it. Like there was when I was there were people that came behind me that had it like scheduled to get it to, and this was their second one. But like they were still like, they were like, no, we're still not. I mean, we're not real sure. And I'm like, I mean, you're here.
Yeah.
Like
You're getting your second one.
if you showed up, I'm assuming you're getting it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just like, just get the fucking vaccine.
Just get it. Let's move past this.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get into part 2, the conclusion, the rest of the story of the Ripper Crew. What do you remember about the part 1? Maybe do like a little review.
There was a van
Okay.
and a lot of victims.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the victims were, like we talked about, they're probably the ones that did have family members that did get noticed that they went missing. So there's probably a lot more victims that never got called, or no one noticed that they were gone.
Right.
But they did a lot of really bad stuff. They would kidnap women, sometimes hold them for unknown amounts of time, usually discard the body on the side of the road. 4 guys, really bad dudes. They all had names. And then, like, the leader had a name.
Yes.
And it was, like, maybe 2 letters? Was it?
No.
Okay. It was more than 2 letters. I remember
more
that.
than 2 letters.
Chicago van, really bad dudes.
And then so honestly, the amount of victims is unknown. Like Joel said, there were quite a few. The ones that are known were, like he said, probably people that were looked for.
Yeah. Had friends, had family.
But there's quite a few that were. I mean, because mostly these guys would look for prostitutes, and you know, like half the time we wouldn't have anybody. Even.
Usually, prostitution is your last, like, your last. What word am I trying to think of? Your last hope or last resort.
Yeah,
you don't resort. No one moves to Chicago. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Chicago be a prostitute.
Right.
Like usually you're into drugs, alcohol. Like your life is just.
And if you do have somebody that tries to find you, to get the police to really put forth any effort.
Yeah, to care.
There's a whole new obstacle you got to go through.
Because they're just gonna say, "Oh, she's addicted to drugs."
Yeah, she might not even be dead. She could have just ran.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on in Chicago.
Yeah, so.
They have two baseball teams.
the Cubs and the Bears, right? Or White Sox. Cubs and White Sox. You looked at me like I confused you.
I was so mad that he said Bears. That's football.
Yeah. I thought you looked at me like, well, now I don't know.
Everything I thought was true is now wrong.
The Michael Jordans.
Yeah.
So the Ripper Crew, they were also known as the Chicago Rippers. They were a satanic cult, kinda, composed of the leader was Robin Gecht.
Not AJ.
Not AJ.
I had AJ in my head.
I don't know where you got AJ from.
Okay.
And then he had three associates: Edward Spreitzer, and then Andrew and Thomas Cocorales.
They're brothers.
They're brothers. So, yeah, these are some real. Bad apples, as it were. The group would regularly meet at Robin Gecht's place after his wife went to work at night and the children were in bed. Like, he had a wife and kids.
And they would have little team meetings about,
Not only would they have team meetings, but they turned his attic into a satanic chapel. So it had
man cave.
Yes. It had an altar draped in a red cloth. Lighting would come from candles. That was the only lighting they had up there. And then there was along the walls were 6 red and black crosses. So this is this dude's attic. His kids are in bed asleep.
Wife at work.
And they would perform. So they would kidnap women, torture them, rape them, mutilate them by cutting off their left breast.
Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
And they
tried to forget
that part.
You reminded me.
They would always eat the breast in the attic as part of the ritualist, of the ritual. That was part of it. Even if they'd already killed the victim somewhere else, they'd at least bring that back to the attic. So, Gecht would read passages as each man would take his turn masturbating into the breast.
Not gay.
Not gay.
All right, it's not gay.
That's that goes past any form of sexual preference. Once they had all taken their turn, Gecht would cut it into pieces, and then they would each consume the flesh. So
that they just jerked off.
Yeah, I don't know if they would mix them up. Hey, that's kind of the least of their worries.
Yeah, it is.
At this point.
I guess with my sick mind, I'm just trapped. Whoa, no, that's where I drew the line way back. But I mean, that's I don't know.
That's added to the.
That's so weird. That's so fucking weird.
So the Ripper Crew, according to the three,
gross.
They believed that Gecht had supernatural powers.
So they were dumb as hell too.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep. They all just basically agreed that he had power to control them mentally and physically because they're just 3 jackasses that
And probably the more of these they get away with, the more emboldened they feel, and
definitely the more emboldened he feels.
And doesn't cannibalism make you go crazy?
I can't think it's. I think you gotta already have it there, ready to get set off if you're gonna be into eating people.
Yeah, I thought eating flesh would, do something to you.
I don't think it would.
All right.
No, I don't think so.
We would have to mess with you a little bit, maybe. But these guys already sound pretty messed. So.
I'm sure psychologically, if you really started to let it hit your mind, if you started to really think about what you were doing, I don't think these guys gave a shit. So.
Yeah.
So they said he'd be able to put them in a trance, and that they couldn't have escaped him if they wanted to. which is all just like a way to try to get themselves out of this
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Um,
That's probably the shit they came up with after they were caught, or
well, so after they were caught, they all basically said that Gact would kill him if they didn't do what he wanted them to do. And one of
if I didn't jerk off all over that, he would have killed me.
it'd have been the end of me. Thomas Cocorella said that being under Gact's will was just like a you have to do this kind of like feeling like at all times, like that's all you could feel is like I have to please him.
Yeah.
So, they also all believe that they could hear hidden messages in music. So like they were just doing like the cliche bullshit
Satan stuff,
satanic cult things.
Yeah.
Like, plus I don't know if
there's
only
a charismatic leader and that guy, the leader guy, and they're just. Probably just lower intelligence and just bought into all that shit.
Yeah. And, like, so how many people do you think it takes before you can actually say you're a cult? Like, is 4 people a cult?
I don't think 4
that
people is a cult.
Like a cult to me.
A cult, I would think, would have, like, women involved and kids, and, like, it's a whole... Like, I think of, like, a cult as, like, the guy in Texas, Waco, Texas.
Well, then, like,
McVeigh.
the dude that we talked about, Timothy, or I don't know if his name was Timothy, the Anthill Kids.
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name now, but yeah, like he had a whole group of people.
Yeah.
Like it was different people in a community.
These are just 4 fuckheads who I think they probably would have gotten into rape and murder anyway. And then but just probably that one guy leader guy's like, oh, but also let's be satanic worshipers. Right. Like, hey, as long as we get a rape and kill, you can call whatever the fuck you want.
So a detective named Warren Wilcox would go to Cicero Avenue. He would talk to prostitutes and pass out flyers with details about the van that they drove that they had gathered from. A couple of the victims got away. We had talked about the first part of this story.
The one girl cut herself and they let her go.
They decided to just throw her out.
Yeah.
And then the one they had thought was dead.
And she wasn't.
But she wasn't dead. So they had a couple victims that had some details they could give, but neither of them had a lot. But
still, the more victims you have with little bit, I mean, it does add up. Circumstantial stuff will start to add up.
So the Chicago police eventually located the van on the 2900 block of North Central Avenue. Sitting behind the wheel was a red-haired man that did not fit the description given by Beverly Washington, who was one of the victims.
And the whole van's all they had the wall in the back with all that shit.
They built a divider. Yeah. And then the whole back was like a torture room.
So if they do get pulled over, I mean, that's going to be hard to explain. Came like that, I don't know.
So they walked up to the van, they looked around inside it, and they see all that shit.
Yeah.
It's just like she described it. So the driver was Edward Spreitzer. When questioned, he said the van belonged to his boss, Robin Gecht. And when they asked him where he was headed, he said that he was heading to meet his boss at an apartment that they were remodeling. So they followed the van there. And Spreitzer asked Gecht to come out, telling him that there's some cops here that wanted to talk to him.
Oh, sure, I'll be right out.
Well, so Robin Gecht comes out, though. And as soon as he walks out, the officers are like, that's exactly who was described. That's the exact dude that she described. He was even wearing the exact same shirt and boots that she described to him. But Gecht was super calm. He acted like this was just, he was completely...
Like an innocent man, probably.
Very innocent.
Yeah.
So they actually were like, this could be a huge mix-up.
Yeah.
So they tell him that his van, the description of his van had been given to them about a potential crime, and they informed him that he was going to have to come down to headquarters for some questioning, and he was like, yeah, sure, let's go. So while they're doing that, they have techs search the van. They find a pill, which they end up finding. The lab ends up concluding that this was a sedative tablet. So, and they had tried to force pills down Beverly's mouth, and then that's when they just threw her out after they had. So they might have thought they were going to kill her through that. I don't know. Maybe they thought if they put enough sedatives in her, she would just die.
Well, especially after cutting herself and getting one of her breasts cut off.
Yeah. So they pretty much start to dig into Robin Gecht. They're pretty sure this is their dude, so they start digging into him. They find out that 2 years before the murders began, he had been arrested and charged with contributing to the sexual delinquency of a 14-year-old girl. Which,
It's a real piece of shit.
I don't know exactly what that means, but it's not good.
Yeah, he probably had sex with a 14-year-old girl.
Well, contributing to the sexual delinquency. So I don't.
That's
It's just not good. At the time of his arrest, he was living in Hanover Park, which is around, and at the same time he was living there, was around the same time that victim number 6, Shui Mak, had disappeared from that area. Mm-hmm. When they dug a little bit further, they uncovered that he had molested his own sister as a teenager. His family sent him to live with his grandmother for a while after that. And when they first talked to him again, he was very easygoing. He was agreed to talk to him. And they were kind of only asking him questions about the van. And they let him go because they didn't have anything to really hold him on.
Yeah.
Then a few weeks later, they come back to talk to him for follow-up, and this time he has a lawyer ready, and he won't talk to him. So the police interrogate Edward Spreitzer.
Man, like, lawyers take a bunch of shit, but, like, imagine being the lawyer for this fucking guy.
I was actually gonna, that was a thing I wanted to talk about. Like, how do you, what do you do with that information?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What's he gonna tell? But
just, once the lawyer hears the charges against him, and just,
right.
Jesus.
And then if you know there's evidence.
Yeah.
Then you just, I don't know how defense lawyers exist.
Do it for the money.
Something. I mean, there are some people that are falsely accused.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
I'm glad there's lawyers out there that fight for those people.
I'm sure there's some people like this that you can look at and be like, oh, yeah, he's a piece of shit.
The police interrogate Edward Spreitzer for hours, and he finally breaks down and starts to confess. He actually gives a 78-page statement. So he's just like, I'll tell you every detail. It was apparent to the officers that he was very afraid of Robin Gecht. The first crime that Spreitzer admitted to being a part of was when Gecht shot the 2 men at the payphone.
Yeah.
Which, we forgot to kind of throw that in.
They were just hired for murder.
At this point, they decided, hey, we're already killing people.
Yeah.
We might as well get paid for this.
Oh, yeah.
So they had hired themselves out as murderers.
Yeah.
So, they shot 2 people, killed 1 in a drive-by execution. So Spreitzer then confessed that when he was driving the van and Gecht told him to slow down as they would approach a prostitute, Gecht would get her to get in the van and have sex with her. They would usually park in an alley, and Gecht would proceed to cut the woman's breast off. And they would, do the thing they do.
Yeah.
So,
rip them.
Yeah. He said that sometimes when Gecht would slice off a woman's breast, it would, get Gecht so excited that he would just, have to start having sex with it immediately.
Yeah, the wound, you said sometimes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Sometimes he said they couldn't, Gecht wouldn't be able to wait to get back to he would have to do this before they even got back to the apartment. So then he talked about the time Gecht had beaten a woman to death with a hammer.
God.
And he actually threw up at the sight of that, he says.
Yeah.
Spreitzer said that it took a while before he could remove a breast himself.
You got built up to that.
Even though Gecht would, urge him to do this.
Yeah.
Spreitzer confessed that he wasn't sure if the woman was dead when he removed both of her breasts, and he said he didn't try to find out either. After he removed them, though, Gecht then forced him to have sex with the gaping wounds.
God.
I don't care how afraid you are of a guy.
Yeah.
You're
into that or you're not. They're not
Yeah. He told the investigators that while the murders were going on, Robin Gecht was always in a state of utter bloodlust. He described how Gecht hacked a woman's breast off in an alley while she was still alive. Then after, again, just the same shit. He would have sex with the wound. The woman would be screaming, blood would be gushing from the wound, and he would just be like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Fucking animal.
And then he says that
Monster.
after he'd finished, one woman, Gecht grabbed an axe and just beat the woman to death with it. Just a fucking...
what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
In all, Spreitzer confessed to being a part of seven murders. While Spreitzer was confessing, Robin Gecht was in another interrogation room with his lawyer. He was still very calm, just collected, nothing. You got nothing.
You didn't know about the book that fucking Spreitzer was writing.
So, using the information from Spreitzer's confession, the investigators pulled pictures of the 7 victims and placed them on the table in front of Gecht, and he denied that he had no idea what this was, who these people were. So then, trying to rattle him, they took Geck down the hall and showed him Spritzer.
Yeah.
While Spritzer was like confessing everything,
Uh-huh.
and Geck played it off like this didn't affect him at all.
He's a psychopath. So, I mean, I could easily see him being able to just play that off, and he doesn't have real emotion.
So while he played it off, inside the room Spritzer was in, though, not quite the same story. Spritzer sees Gecht, seeing him, and he turns white as a ghost, and he suddenly changes the story. He says that Gecht never actually killed anybody. He starts talking really, really fast, takes back his confession. He says,
that sounds a little bit like a cult leader. It's a small cult, but if you get a guy to act like that just from seeing you, it's a little. You got some control over his mind.
He starts to say that actually, no, it was all Andrew Cocorales. He killed everybody.
Oh,
he's the one that did it. So
give me that confession back. I gotta erase some stuff.
So the police then go to Gecht and they go, "Hey, so who's this Andrew Cocorales?" He says that Andrew works for him, and here's his address, but he denies anything about murder. He doesn't know anything about murders. That Cocorales did them, Spritzer did them, he did them, doesn't know anything about that. Again, they don't have anything on Robin Gecht. Not really.
Yeah.
So they let him go again.
Hearsay.
Yeah. So a few weeks later, they take a picture of Robin Gecht to Beverly, Washington. And she's in the hospital still recovering from the injuries. And she immediately picks Gecht's photo out of the, photo
lineup. Sure.
Yeah. So since Robin
hopefully
Gecht,
that'd be enough to arrest him.
You still got to get some evidence to, because she could be confused. She could be.
Yeah.
It's not going to hold up.
Yeah, it's not enough to hold.
But it's definitely all right. We're going in the right direction.
And they can only charge him once, because I mean, if they charge him and he gets away, then double jeopardy. They can't charge him again.
Yeah. So they're going to make sure they know what they're doing. So with him not talking, though, the detectives decided to start speaking to people in his life that they knew that wasn't involved in the crimes, but they were hoping to get some information from him. In his younger years, Gecht had asked girls he was dating to let him stab them with pins in the breast while they had sex. When they spoke,
what the fuck?
Like, this was his thing. Like, when they spoke with his wife, she admitted that Gecht had gone further with her, actually slicing into her breast with a knife. She said that her husband did this to her against her will, but she just never reported it.
Yeah. I'm sure she was terrified.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. She was probably. Yeah.
I mean,
there's no way she's going to the police. Like,
yeah.
Because I'm assuming she knows her and her kids are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think this guy's going to give a shit that they're his kids. Jeez. So the detective spoke with people from around the neighborhood that knew Gecht, and it not only did Gecht's crew fear him, but it kind of seemed like everyone feared this guy. Like, everyone, just had some fear of him. Everyone basically told the police that Gecht had some sort of power.
Yeah.
That he was able to kind of look you in the eye and make you do what he wanted you to do.
He sounds batshit crazy. And I mean, when I see people that are batshit crazy, I'm always a little leery of
it definitely makes you a little it changes how you would normally act.
Yeah. Because you're on kind of edge and just almost going into a defensive mode or something. I don't know.
One individual told the officer to never look into Gecht's eyes. Because then he'd be pulled into there's these people are talking about this guy like he's a witch doctor, like a shaman of sorts. So knowing that they had the right man or men, the crew at this point, they start digging into the entire background of the Rippers. In 1981, Gecht had rented a room at the Rip Van Winkle Motel, which was where they had found the body of Linda Sutton.
I love the name of that hotel too, by the way.
The Rip Van Winkle Motel.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot more fun shit should be going on there.
Right.
Not so much murder and this stuff. Yeah.
It should have a fun theme.
Yeah, the Rip Van Winkle.
Yeah, but it is not.
Nope.
They actually have changed the name 4 times.
It's called not the Rip Van Winkle.
It's called We should really just tear this place down.
Won't get killed here. And
3 adjoining rooms were rented by Edward Spritzer and the Cocorales brothers when Gecht had rented a room there. And they were able to find this out because the Cocorales brothers had their mail forwarded from this address when they all moved. So, like, they were apparently just living in this hotel.
What kind of mail were you fucking getting?
Right. While speaking to the manager of the motel, they learned that he remembered the men pretty well. He said that they had really loud parties, and he believed they were involved in a cult. So maybe that's where the cult thing came from. Saying that they were some kind of cultists for sure. And they said that the men would frequently bring numerous women back to the rooms.
So plus that dude's attic too. I mean,
and then then they got the whole clubhouse in the attic. It didn't take long for detectives to break Andrew Cocorales under interrogation. He started talking immediately about the women they had kidnapped and murdered.
I'm sure the three of them are pretty weak outside of.
Yeah, if you can get them away from Geck.
Yeah.
And his details were like lined up perfectly with the coroner's reports. So they were like, okay, this is the real deal. He talked about how they kidnapped women to rape and torture them. He said they would routinely all carry knives, but they would also use razors, tin can lids, and can openers to mutilate the women. Just whatever they had, whatever they could find.
Where the fuck would they plug can openers in at?
This is the 80s.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have electricity in the 80s, Joel. He went into more...
That's fucking awful, though. Jesus Christ. These guys
like 10 can lids? He would go into details about how they use piano wire to amputate the breasts of some of the women. And then he confirmed that they would take turns masturbating into the breasts before eating parts of them. In total, Andrew Cocorales admitted to being part of 18 murders.
Damn!
Yeah, including Lorraine Borowski and Rose Beck Davis. He described the rape and murder of Sandra Delaware in detail. Cocorales said they had shoved a rock in her mouth to keep her from screaming while they attacked her. They forced a wine bottle into her vagina to make her bleed, and then they stabbed her body with a knife, and then they strangled her to death.
How do you get so hateful?
No idea. Like,
just
no idea. And like, how 4 people, even if one is like a complete fucking psychopath that has some control, how do 3 other like human beings, all 3 of them are able to just be like, let's just do this shit. Yeah. Like, not a one of them was like, fuck this. Like,
I'm out.
Yeah. At a certain point.
And maybe at the beginning they were afraid of him, but I mean, obviously by the end they're fully committed. Yeah. All of them.
Yeah, like, I don't care what kind of power this guy had. Like, they're all just as, like, terrible as he is.
Just to inflict that much pain, and God, I just can't even wrap my head around that.
So that was Andrew Cocorales. The other brother, Thomas, he gave conflicting statements, and he really couldn't stick with his story. He was kind of all over the place. He was given a polygraph test, which he failed. So then, with the other confessions and Thomas Cocorales' failed polygraph results, he decided to go ahead and like make a real confession. So he told the detectives that he and the other men would take the women back to Geck's place, where they had a satanic chapel in the attic. They would rape and torture the women. They often used knives and ice picks to mutilate women's bodies. And then the breast was usually removed with a wire garrote. So, like, all the details are pretty much known because of these dudes. Yeah. They're just like, here's everything.
I'm sure they probably got, I mean, I would imagine they got offered some sort of, hey, if we hear it from you, maybe you won't get to death. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like,
we'll go easy on you.
Police tactics, just, we know you're not the leader, so tell us, about what happened here. And
he would also confirm about the masturbating into the breast and then eating it as part of, like, a communion, like you do, like Catholic, the wafers.
That is just...
And then he said Geck would save the breast in a box, and at one point there was 15 of them in there, in the box.
Just a box of breasts.
Just a box of breasts.
All right.
During his taped confession, Thomas Cocorales admitted to being present during 3 murders, including the murder of Lorraine Borowski. Elmhurst Police Detective John Miller, who had sat with Cocorales during his confession, said, quote, "I've done many homicide cases, and I've never heard of anything so horrendous in my life." He talked about raping the women, stabbing the women, having sex with the knife wounds, cutting the breasts off to leave what he called a robin's mark. So yeah, this guy was basically like, this is the most awful shit.
Yeah.
So the police executed a search warrant on the homes of all the crew inside Geck's attic. They found the Satanic Chapel. They also recovered a rifle that would match the Rafael Tirado shooting. So
So they can at least get him for that.
All 4 men are arrested and charged. So we're going to start with the trials of Robin Gecht. First trial, he tries to avoid it completely. He declares he's insane.
Yep.
Which, there's a little bit of evidence.
Yeah.
However, he was evaluated by numerous mental health professionals, and they determined that he's competent to stand trial. But his first trial would end in a mistrial. So, fortunately, though, they were able to have a second trial begin on September 20th, 1983. The prosecution laid out their case against him being the leader of this crew. They presented the court with the recorded evidence found in the Satanic Chapel. Recovered evidence, not recorded, sorry. So, including the rifle used in the Rafael Tirado murder and the trophy box that held the female breast. So, they found that box, which has just got to be just fucking horrific.
That's the end of the fucking trial, right?
Though.
Yeah. Like after that, all right, well, he's guilty.
The jury was told that the crew's MO was that they would kidnap the woman, hold her, torture her with needles, knives, and ice picks. They would gang rape her, and then they would slice the breast off for the men to use during a ritual. And then they would brutally murder them. The prosecution called numerous female witnesses who took the stand and testified that Gecht had inflicted wounds on their breasts and had asked them to cut off their own nipples for him. So, not one of the other men, not Edward Spreitzer or the Cocorales brothers, would take the stand against their leader. They all recanted ever saying that Gecht had anything to do with it.
Wow.
They all recanted.
So they obviously didn't get any sort of...
So, yeah.
leeway from the police or...
Yeah, they get nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what they deserve. I mean,
right.
It's good. I'm surprised they didn't roll over the snitch just to try to help
themselves out. They were probably afraid that somehow he was going to talk his way out of this.
Yeah.
And get them out of it, and then, who knows what the fuck he would do to them.
Yeah.
So he actually takes a stand in his own defense.
Oh wow!
It's always the biggest psychopaths that do that.
Just cocky.
They think they're smarter than
they can control everything, even though when he's not in control of any of this.
Yeah, but he still
can control his 3 idiots.
The
3 stooges.
Up until this time, he had denied being a part of any of the attacks. While on the stand, though, he confessed that he'd been involved in the attack on Beverly, Washington.
The one who lived.
Yeah. He insisted, though, that he had never killed anyone, and he had never been involved in any of the murders or rapes.
That box of breasts that was in the house
in
when
my
we moved
attic.
in. Yeah, it was already there.
Yeah. So his defense, he told the jury that he hadn't even known the other men during the time that the murders had happened.
Well,
I don't even know these guys. Who are these guys? Edward what? Since the other members refused to testify against Gecht, the police had no direct evidence against him, so he was only charged with the rape, battery, and attempted murder of Beverly, Washington. The jury found him guilty on all charges, and he was sentenced to 120 years in prison. He will be eligible for parole in 2022.
What? Even they didn't get him for the murder of the guy because they found the rifle?
Couldn't get him for... The only thing they could get him from was the rape, battery, and attempted murder of Beverly, Washington.
What about the other 3 guys?
We'll get to them.
All right.
But that's all they could get the leader for. So, 2022, he will be up for parole. He's still alive. He's still in prison. So...
You just blew my fucking mind. I can't even...
Though, the 120 years, though, sentence, so they all know he did this.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where, we're still going to put you away for a long fucking...
Yeah, you're not getting out.
So that, I would say...
God, I wonder if he's, in protective custody in prison. I mean, I can't imagine inmates, knowing what he did to women.
Who the fuck... at this point... So, the 80s, he's got to be close to 30 back then.
So he's probably 65, 70 now.
Yeah, all right, so...
Someone kill that fool.
Yeah, I don't see him getting out next year.
I hope not.
We'll
be there.
We'll be following along, though, to see. That'll be interesting. So now Thomas Cocorales, his trial. He tried to have his confessions thrown out, but he lost the motion to do so. He was convicted of the rape and murder of Lorraine Borowski. He was sentenced to life in prison after the judge threw out the prosecution's death penalty sentence. Crocorales chose not to testify, but he spoke and denied any involvement in the crimes he was charged with during sentencing. In 1986, the state appeals court reversed the guilty verdict, citing legal errors in the original trial, and they granted him a new trial. So a year later, Crocorales pled guilty to the murder of Lorraine Borowski and was given a 70-year sentence. In 2017, he came up for parole, and authorities tried to have him committed as a sexually violent person, which would force him to stay behind bars. For this to occur, they had to prove that it was substantially probable that he would commit more acts of sexual violence. They referenced that he had admitted to more devious rapes and murders since he had been in prison. And then in a taped interview in 1982, he details what had happened to Shui Mak, one of the victims, including the part that he played in her rape. Over the years, he's also confessed to being part of other rapes and murders carried out by the Ripper crew during interviews with mental health professionals, prison officers, and the press. Psychiatrists evaluated him in 2017 and determined he was not sexually violent.
What?
He was released from prison after only serving half of a sentence.
Get the fuck out of here.
He must register as a sex offender as long as he lives in Illinois. Detective Warren Wilco's spoke about the release of Crocorales, saying he didn't have strong opinions on it, but he said about Gecht, someday coming up for parole, and that it would be a whole different thing with Gecht, because Gecht made Manson look like a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of these dudes
Is out.
is out right now. Yeah. He registered as a sex offender in Illinois.
Crazy.
So now his brother, Andrew Crocorales. He was first brought to trial for the rape and murder of victim number 9, Rose Beck Davis. He confessed to abducting Davis with the other members of the crew, saying that they had forced her into the van and beaten her with a hatchet. The jury deliberated for over 3 hours before finding him guilty of rape and murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. He was brought to trial the second time for the rape and murder of Lorraine Borowski and Rose Beck Davis. Well, I don't know how he would get twice for the same victim. So this one I think was just for Lorraine Borowski. He confessed to the rape and murder of Lorraine Borowski during police interrogation, but he recanted his confession before trial. At trial, he insisted that he had never raped anybody, he had never killed anybody, and the police forced him to make those confessions. He's just a good boy.
Well, it sounds like the only evidence they really have are these confessions.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
not a lot to go on here. Prosecutor Brian Tellender went through each confession with Crocorales on the stand. He had confessed to 6 separate detectives and 2 prosecutors. The prosecutor asked why Crocorales had given the same statements over and over to each of those people. He said that the police had fed him the information, they had beaten him, and they had forced him to repeat what they wanted him to say. Detective Warren Wilco's was called by the prosecution to talk about the confession that Crocorales had given him. He said that he had shown an array of photos to Andrew Crocorales of women, and Crocorales was the one who had picked out the picture of Lorraine Borowski, and had said, "That's the girl Eddie Spreitzer and myself killed in the cemetery." The jury took 3 hours to decide if they believed 8 separate individuals had forced Crocorales to lie, or if he was now lying on the stand. They determined he was guilty. During sentencing, Crocorales stuck to his not guilty plea, claiming he had nothing to do with the attack. Again, no one believed that bullshit. And he was sentenced to death.
Oh.
He appealed several times and lost. Then he changed the story again at the last minute. He claimed now he did rape and kill those women, but he had been suffering from a schizophrenic break at the time and didn't know what he was doing. So now with a new claim and a new defense and new lawyers, he tried it again. He said that since his original defense team didn't enter a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, they had done him an injustice and he deserved a new trial. The prosecution and the judge should have ordered an evaluation too, so they were also in error. While in prison, he was evaluated by psychiatrists. They had determined that he was vulnerable to a strong influence like Gecht and had suffered from abnormal behavior, making him not responsible for what he had done. The court didn't think that the normal behavior met the requirements for a finding of insanity, however, so he was executed by lethal injection on March 16th, 1999.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
That's crazy how not the leader got executed, but one of the followers.
But yeah, they were like, oh, cool story, bro. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Still going to kill you. On April 2nd, 1984, Edward Spritzer pled guilty to the murders of victim number 6, Shuey Mock, victim number 8, Sandra Delaware, victim number 9, Rose Beck Davis, and drug dealer victim number 12, Rafael Tirado, along with numerous rape and deviant sexual assault charges. He received a life sentence for each of the 4 murder charges. February 25th, 1986, he went on trial for the murder of victim number 1, Linda Sutton. He opted for a bench trial in front of a judge to determine his guilt, but let a jury decide his sentencing. During the trial, he admitted that he and the other Ripper crew members had abducted Linda as she walked past Wrigley Field. He said they took her to a wooded field near the Rip Van Winkle Motel, where they were all staying at the time. She was handcuffed, raped, and they removed her breast. And then they all raped her again before leaving her to die alone. Public defender Carol Anfinson represented Spritzer.
And you had a woman. Oh my god.
She presented her client to the judge as an immature, impulsive young man who merely followed orders. She said that it was all Robin Gecht. He's the one that made Spritzer do this, and Spritzer was just scared of his own life.
Yeah.
Friends called to the stand testified that Spritzer had always seemed easygoing. They added that in the past he's been
never
a victim.
cut my breast off.
Right. I have both mine, so I mean, he can't be all that bad. Another friend rebuffed these claims of the other friends by saying that, yeah, fuck that, no, he'd bragged about what he did to the broads, quote unquote. He said that Spritzer laughed about it while talking about the mutilations and how he had killed them himself, some of them. So the judge found him guilty of aggravated kidnapping and murder. A jury would sentence him to the death penalty 2 weeks later. Edward Spritzer exhausted all of his appeals and sat on death row for years. When Governor Ryan was leaving office in 2003, he gave Spritzer clemency, turning his death sentence into a life sentence. On November 16th, 1988, Robin Gecht's mother, Loretta, his sister, Rochelle, and his nephew, Nicholas, visited him in prison. Their car was involved in an accident on the way home, being sandwiched between 2 semi-trucks. Loretta and Nicholas died instantly. Rochelle remained in a coma for 4 months before passing away. Really doesn't have a lot to do with the story, but I'm like, oh, that's fucking crazy. This dude's basically a whole family would. In March of 99, Robin Gecht's son, David Gecht, was arrested for first-degree murder. David Gecht, who was 18 at the time, had shot and killed Roberto Cruz in northwest Chicago. He was tried as an adult and received 45 years in prison.
Damn.
Robin Gecht has given numerous interviews over the years. He continues to claim he's innocent, and the DNA evidence will exonerate him soon. This is him talking. First mistake is considering me a serial killer. I'm not considered one. I've never killed or took part in any such acts, nor ever charged of any in any murders of anyone. I don't only face the injustices, but the nightmares that follow. You have no idea the pain and hurt and I face and feel every single day I sit here and lose hope. I'm no angel, but I never intentionally hurt anyone, unless it was to protect myself or my family. I could never live with killing or knowing I was responsible for taking one's life.
What the fuck ever.
I'm sure he means every
Go get
word.
fucked.
Yeah.
Go to the shower room and get fucked.
In another interview, Gecht talked about his obsession with breasts and how it was an inherited family trait.
He said, no, I mean, I could see why you would cut off a breast, but I didn't do it.
Quote, well, in an answer to your question on obsession with breasts, it's a thing with my entire family, going back, as I'm told, to my great-great-grandfather. Each of us men have married...
Who doesn't like titties?
That's basically what he's saying.
I mean, my whole life I'm obsessed with...
Each of us men have married large-breasted women. My ex-wife is a 39D, and yes, she was very satisfying to me. As to your question about having sex with breasts, I have no real obsession with breasts in that form. Only a very sick person would even think of that. Like, look, my granddaddy was into titties.
Yeah.
My great granddaddy liked them titties.
My daddy, his daddy before him.
So, that's the story of the Ripper Crew, but there's one more crazy fucking part to the story.
I can't take anymore.
We kind of like we teased it at the end of part 1.
Okay.
This connection. This is fucking mind-blowing to me. So, the Ripper Crew is considered a serial killing group.
Uh-huh.
Which is pretty fucking rare. Like, a whole group.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of another one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, I know a good bit of murders and true crime and stuff, and I can't think of another group.
Yeah, like there's usually not
killers.
like a Justice League of like,
yeah,
or like the Avengers,
the
Avengers of serial killing. So Robin Gecht, the leader of this group,
the leader of the pack, vroom vroom,
once worked in the late 70s for a company called PDM Contractors. The owner, or I don't know if he was the owner, but he was a part of that. He was like a manager there. John Wayne Gacy.
Oh,
so
the clown guy.
He fucking worked with John Wayne Gacy. And John Wayne Gacy, after being arrested and convicted, had talked about having a partner. He said that he had had someone who he worked with on some of the murders, but he never gave a name. So
wow,
yeah, like there was a younger dude that had worked for Gacy at the same place that had turned up dead, and at the time that death was attributed to Gacy, but then over the years they figured out that Gacy was out of town at that time, so they always kind of thought that if Gacy had an accomplice, it probably was that guy.
Yeah.
So like they're all there together. Gacy goes out of town. This dude ends up dead. But hey, Robin Gecht's there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's kind of weird. Just because Gacy killed young boys, and Robin Gecht was in the ladies. But I mean, killing.
They
guess.
had all grounds covered, I guess.
Yeah.
But how fucking crazy of a connection is that?
That's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah, to think like that's a crazy origin story. So yeah, that's the story of the Ripper Crew.
Damn,
fucking awful.
I don't think I took a breath like this whole time.
Just awful fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't think of that if you were like trying to like if you were like I'm gonna write a story about like an evil group.
I can't believe only one of them got the death penalty.
I know. One dude got the death penalty.
And it doesn't seem like they have very much evidence other than like the gun and
the confessions.
Yeah, the confessions.
I mean, that's pretty much. They do say that there's evidence collected in the attic, so I don't know what that is exactly. Like, so I don't know if they had any DNA
and they didn't
evidence.
even get the what? I can't think of the fucking leader's name because I'm stupid.
Robin Gecht.
Yeah, Robin. They didn't even get him for murder.
No.
Rape.
Just attempted murder. Well, they got him for rape.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They got him for rape, not for murder. I mean, I'm glad he's in prison. I hope he stays there.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So one guy's out, one guy's dead, and 2 are still in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Robin Gecht's up for parole next year.
Yeah.
So, and then the guy that they got the death penalty for, though, I think he was the one that had given like the details that perfectly matched up with the coroner. So I mean, he kind of like I think that was him.
Yeah.
And if not, then it was his brother. But like those details had to be what could pretty much be like you're getting the death penalty. Like,
I'm sure there's stuff like they didn't release, obviously, to the media and press, and police. The investigations always do that, where they keep things to themselves. So then, there's ways that that they can prove who did it. Like these people have this knowledge that wasn't released. Well, how did they have that knowledge? Because they were fucking there.
Right.
He was there killing these women.
It's just fucking crazy. Like no matter, I've watched so many horror movies in my lifetime, and like no matter what is created by humans, we can never create what is actually happening.
Yeah. Like when I think horror movies, I think there's monsters with like supernatural powers. Like that's horrific. It's like just to think it's just people.
Yeah. Just 4 dudes in a van.
Just that's how evil people can fucking be, man.
Yeah.
Like not like it's too like obviously it's fucking awful to rape and kill somebody,
but to then
just torture,
go even further than that, and like to terrorize that human being,
and just all the pleasure they got from it.
Yeah.
Jesus
so
Christ.
Yeah. Probably good thing we're taking a week off.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, do you have a feel good?
Play that music. Feels good.
Okay, good luck with this one.
Well, the feel good is that story's over.
Yeah,
That's it. And now I'm going to go home and just cry.
that is a pretty good feel good. Hopefully, one of the feel goods next year sometime will be Robin Gex denied parole.
Yeah,
so
and dies.
We'll keep an eye on that one.
Now, I do have a feel good.
All right.
A little bit of a feel good. Made me feel good. Headline, Washington man arrested for allegedly stealing 400-pound slide, mounting it the child's bunk bed at his home. Dad of the year.
That's just being a
is
good
what
dad.
I see, yeah.
A 400-pound slide?
The detective who discovered the slide had been investigating reports of stolen catalytic converters.
Okay. Right.
The man stole it from a playground and put it on his child's bunk bed in his mobile home.
How does it fit?
Well, Dustin Allen Bushnell, 30, at Burbank, he was arrested. When they went to his home to investigate the catalytic converters, they saw the slide. He'd cut off the top to fit on the kid's bunk bed and painted it.
Okay.
And they even have a picture of the kid on the slide
You have the picture?
with this bunk. Hey, we just arrested your
That's
dad
amazing.
and took him to jail. This guy had to have been on meth. And it's just one of those deals where the kid was like, "Dad, you know what'd be cool?" He's like, "What'd be cool? What'd be cool,
Anything
kid?
you
Let's
want,
do
I'll
it.
do it."
What do you want? What do you want?" He's like, "What if I could get a big slide? What if you could get a big slide? I gotta steal these catalytic converters first."
I mean, it's kind of like a heartwarming story.
It is a little bit. I mean,
this dude went to great lengths to make
he
his
stole a
son happy.
400-pound slide.
First of all, I don't know how. Yeah,
How
did he
meth
transport
string.
it?
Yeah, was there a
That's strength.
did he have his cult with him? Is that what they did?
Right. Yeah, he has his own.
He had his van. He said, "Yeah, he's been the detective Julie Lee had been investigating reports of stolen catalytic converters, and it led to the house of Bushnell. And they executed a warrant, and they found a gigantic slide as well as the catalytic converters.
Oh, okay. Well,
The slide had been taken from a playground in December. He repainted it, sawed off the top, and mounted it to the bunk bed. And the kid was quoted as saying, "Wee!" That's not really in the article, but I thought it was funny. The investigation's ongoing, but I think that's a pretty badass dad, I gotta say.
I mean, that's. He could have just went and bought that kid some shitty, cheap Fisher Price slide.
Yeah. Get one of those metal slides that you put outside and gets all hot. I call those a suicide.
Suicide. Yeah, it gets hot as fuck.
Your skin gets on the side and it's
Yeah.
rips
you
it
leave,
off.
A streak of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good dad, I think. I didn't realize the catalytic converter thing was a big deal.
I guess because they're easy to steal and you can sell it for scrap.
I sold my truck to a guy, and as soon as we got down there to look at it, he immediately slid under the truck, and then he came back up and
he had that catalytic converter hard on, didn't he?
He was like, "Well," he's like, "I'm gonna have to give you the low end of my offer," and he's like, "The main thing I was wanted to get was a catalytic converter, and yours isn't in there."
Did you even know you were missing your catalytic converter?
Yeah, because the guys I bought the truck off of had changed shit around. So I knew. So, but yeah, he still bought it because he still uses it for parts.
Yeah.
He still strips them down. But that's what he said. He said he had quit his job last year, or took a voluntary leave of absence, and he's just been doing this. He's just been buying junk cars and selling. But he's
Do you have any slides?
He did have, now you mention it. He was dragging a 400-pound slide behind us. I didn't think much about it at the time.
No. Why would you?
Right. I'm not here to question your lifestyle, pal. All right. Well, that was a pretty good feel-good.
Yeah, feels good.
I hope they didn't take it from that kid.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was wondering, too.
That kid lost his dad and his
They're
son.
like, here, jump up there. Let me get a picture of you on it. All right, get this shit out of here for evidence.
Fuck out.
They took the bed and everything.
All right, well, we're going to take a week off.
Yep.
Joel's going to get moved into his new house. If he comes around on you guys and decides that you're not unworthy trash, we might do another episode.
Yeah, and if Josh doesn't have 17 other podcasts that he has to do, then maybe we'll get back to this one.
Hey, I always come around to this one, though. Right? I always come home to this one, baby.
And I'll always have you.
I always come home to you. All right. Yeah, go. Do all the things.
Yep.
The rating and the liking and the reviewing and the
rating and the liking and the viewing.
do all of that.
Yeah.
Share it with your tell a friend.
Uh-huh.
Tell a friend if you know they like podcasts like this.
Yeah.
Tell them to
Don't
check
mention
this
the
one out.
other one, just this one.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it for your sake. For the sake of our.
Could you imagine like someone like, hey man, I listen to a podcast called Middle Aged and Mediocre. You'd be like, why? The name.
Yeah.
What? Well, they're not. It's more than just that.
We didn't have very much foresight going into this. We planned one thing, it led into another thing, but here we are.
You just liked how that sound, Middle Aged and Mediocre.
We're making it work for us.
Yep.
So, yeah, you say that. You say like, hey, there's this podcast you should check out, Middle Aged and Mediocre.
Uh-huh.
And then when they're like, oh, what's that? What's that about? You just tell them, and they're going to be thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it be called that?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with what they talk about.
I gotta check this out.
And you go, yeah. Anyways, check it out.
They're jackasses.
That's us. So, thanks as always for listening, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with something. Even if it's about murder, it'll be a lot less horrific than this.
A lot less murdery
think.
than this.
Yeah. So until next time, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you then.
Stay hard.